Hello and welcome back. We're going to do a bit of a part two with the video bars. They are now officially called video bars, I believe. I think they may have already been, and I just totally got it wrong. No, confirm if I'm right. But I want to look at them in a different way. I want to kind of see if we can see its limitations and test it, because I've been thinking what happens when we move to the office or when we go back to the office, and what happens.
Yeah, so not just about going back to the office, but going back to your office. So with video bars, what we'll probably start to see now is that you've got these in executive offices, in the home office, as well as in spaces in office spaces. So hopefully what we can do today is show with your side the distances that things will work, what you've got, how that might fit into, that people will then be able to go, okay, well, that'll work in my office space, or that won't work in my office space.
I agree. I think one of the things that we're definitely going to see, especially with meeting rooms, you had everyone was telling you about the small huddle rooms, and they're, say, 2 to 4 people or 4 to 6, whatever it be. That, if it was a 4 to 6, now only actually is going to house 2 to 3 people if you're lucky.
Yeah.
4 to 6 people in the meeting room are actually now going to be sat in the 8 to 6, the 8 to 12 size space. Good math. So 8 to 12. So what was normally from a huddle room 2.5 meters long is now probably about 5 meters long.
Yeah, and that's important to remember, because you're going to get people that have gone on Amazon and gone, yeah, I'll get that, stuck it in a room, and it's all right because it's a small room, it's got 2 seats in it, and that's it. But you can't necessarily move things between rooms without taking into account the extra space you get in, the reverb, the noise, the whole lot that you're going to see. So.
And I agree. I think with the size of the spaces, with the difference of the kit, as people go back to the office, if businesses are now thinking, well, I've got to equip my medium or my small meeting rooms, the 8 to 12 that never had their presentation, are they going to want to go out there in the position that the economy is potentially in and buy new stuff? Is there a chance that they're going to say, maybe we do want to buy new stuff, but we don't want to go out and buy the most expensive stuff that everyone's telling us, because cash is potentially an issue right now? Or do we want to look to repurpose what we've got in the huddle rooms to bring to the smaller rooms?
Yeah.
So if we have a little bit of a test, today I've got of the original 3, I've deducted the Cisco WebEx Room USB. There's a genuine reason for that. That is more of it's a SIP codec. It's a VC system with BYOD capabilities. That, in my eyes, is more in tune with the Studio X series. So it's a VC system with BYOD. The 2 that I've kept, the Poly Studio and the Logitech MeetUp, they are the true BYOD systems. They're the ones that everyone seems to talk to us about the most. It's the ones that seem to be doing the most business. I know there's other ones out there, but these seem to be the 2. Pound for pound, street price, they're about the same price. Yep. Very little in them. Spec sheets, data sheets, all pretty much stay the same. What's really interesting, and I've had this question a lot of times with the manufacturers, if you read the data sheets will tell you microphone pickup, not camera distances. None of them tell you that. Really interesting. The Polycom will tell you that the mic pickup is about 3.7 meters, 12 feet, because Poly love the 12 feet on everything, it seems. So it's 12 feet, but you can add extension mics, they reckon, then it goes up to, I'm going back to meters, about 5 meters. Logitech is 4 meters, expansion mics give you about 5 meters. So the data sheets are saying they're pretty much the same beast. Okay? So, room I'm in, kitchen.
How big is it?
Room is, so if when I'm through, then I can get cracking. From camera lens to back wall is 5 meters, funnily enough, would you believe? It's like we planned this. If I do this half of the room, width is about 2.5 meters. So it's 2.5 by 5. 8-seater room, maybe? It's not a bad size. I'd say that's pretty comfortable. So what I'm going to do then is go to what it says its limitations are, and see if we can push it as well, and see what you think. And then what I've also done with the systems is I've turned on the framing. There's only me, so I am the group, I am the speaker, so whatever I set it to, they're both going to do the same thing. I've not got another head in the room, but I had a lovely assistant earlier who didn't want to be in the video. And what I can tell you, that if somebody stood right on the periphery of that 120 degree and someone stood at the back wall, the system did frame both of us as the group. Both of them did that. I just can't show you on the video. Okay? So if I stand up, from where I was sat, I've kind of marked this out. I was about 2 meters away. I am 2 meters from mouth to lens.
Interestingly, then, when you move the chair around on the floor, it didn't come through.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's no noise.
Oh, very nice. Okay, there you go. Noise block technology in poly. I'll do that test again later, but that's good to know because I've never actually tested that. Okay, so 2 meters, framing speaker or group, because there's only me, frames exactly the same thing. Okay, so this is well within its distances. This is most probably them huddle spaces, them 2 to 4, them 4 to 6 little rooms where everyone's on in a bit of an arc around the table. Prime. Okay, so let me take a step back, and I'm at 3 meters. Okay, now it's going to think about it. It says, and then this should come and pick me back up. Did that move in? Yeah, I've just seen it coming. Okay, so I'm at 3 meters. Now, there are 6 microphones in this, they're beamforming mics. This shouldn't cause any issue. Bear in mind as well, as I said, I'm in my kitchen. There's a lot of hard surfaces, there's a lot of work surfaces. This isn't the best acoustic room at all. So it's also testing it a little bit further from an audio perspective. Okay? So if I take another step, I'm going to go to about here. I'm at 4 meters. Okay? Holly says 3.7. All right, so but I'm at 4. Let's see what it does. And again, let's see how it picks up, how it frames, and whether it's going to track. There is a limit to how far these cameras will zoom. And all of these cameras have a 5 times digital zoom. So the reason there is a limit is because of resolution. Every time it doubles that zoom, you start to lower your resolution. It doesn't want to start sending then unintelligible quality video to the far end, so there is a limit to how far it will go. But I saw that it came across and it focused on me, but it's at the peak of now its zoom.
Yeah, you can tell the image quality's dropped a little bit. The sound of your voice is more echoey, so it's picking up that space. I wouldn't want to have this video call, being the audio participant in a car driving down the motorway.
Very good point. Okay, so let me take another step. I'm 5 meters. At this point, it's saying you want the expansion mics on there. Now, I don't have the expansion mics with me, but what you should see is that it doesn't zoom any further, but it still at least centers me in the shot. It should still at least see me as a participant, frame me centrally, but obviously it's already past the peak of its zoom. Yeah. Now, this sits at the front. As I said, you could put an expansion mic on the table that can help my audio. The most important bit with this, and we'll do the same with the next one, is if you're happy that it's not zooming in as that speaker frame, not me, hug out, but if it's not zooming in on that frame, you're happy with this, then is there a question that says this is fine in a 5 meter room or to a furthest participant that's 5 meters, but maybe you just need an expansion mic instead?
Yeah, mate, if I was I'd put that expansion mic in probably earlier than that anyway, to make sure that those guys that are sat at the end are picked up properly. But there's no massive degradation because of the way you're standing at all.
Okay. And then, as I said, it's more about seeing a smaller version of me than a bigger version of me because it can't zoom any further. Let's be honest, it's me. Probably don't want that.
No, exactly. It's still the good thing about it is when you're sitting at the desk, you may actually be physically 2 meters away, but it feels as though you're sat here 1-to-1 with me. It's only now where you've got to go further back and you've got to go into the digital zoom that you look a little bit further away.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let me bring it back forward. What I will do is we'll do this on the fly, and I'm going to switch to the Logitech MeetUp. And we'll go through the same again, the distances, the specification. As I said, where it recommends the expansion mics, everything is the same. Okay, and then you can let me know the audio difference as well. So let me first of all change the speaker. So my speakers have changed. My microphone has now changed, and my has now changed. Okay, so now we are on the Logitech MeetUp completely.
Okay.
Framing is turned on, so you'll remember in the first video it just wouldn't activate. I've done exactly the same. I've not updated it because there isn't a newer version available. But I think it's working. So I'm going to get up and we'll start again.
You're further away. So you're further away in the same position with this camera than you were with the other camera. So it already feels as though you are sat further away from the camera, whereas the poly kind of tricks you into thinking you're closer.
Okay, interesting. And what about the audio then from a seated position?
It's pretty similar.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, let me start. So again,
but I can hear the chair. yeah, that's coming through nice and clear.
Okay, really interesting. I love that little test. So I am back at a 2 meter mark now. As I said, I had the software set to frame, so I'm hoping that this is going to adjust a little just to get me central. He says.
Well,
let me move around to the next seat. It's a little bit unfair sometimes where you expect it to move all the time, because when you come into a meet room, you sat down in the space, there you go, it's found me anyway. Okay, so 2 meters. Let me take a step. We're back now to 3 meters, again, well within the initial specification that says inbuilt everything. Okay, so I'm at 3 meters. Again, I'm expecting it probably to zoom a little bit further. I'm seeing a little pip of myself, so I'm not 100% sure.
No, we don't move yet.
Make a difference. Okay, let me see if I can force a little bit of difference. Let me kind of shift to the side slightly. So I'm still at 3 meters, but let me take a side step. And there we go. So it did do it. It kind of needs a larger difference. But again, like I said, normally you come down, you sit in a seat, and you stay in a seat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's probably not fair for me to expect it to follow me as such. Okay, so 3 meters. Again, I'm going to go back now to 4. So 4 meters, this is where it says is its maximum for everything that's built in. I say everything, the specification really is just for the microphone pickup. As I said, the cameras don't say anything, the speakers don't say anything. So I'm hoping that if that's not already, it's shifted and focused back in on me.
There you go. Okay, it's just moving on to focus now. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I don't really expect it to do it again. But as I said, if I take a step back, the step back then is where it recommends the expansion mics. Although you said on the poly, probably at this point, you were looking at the expansion mics anyway.
Yeah, I'm a step earlier for the Logitech. Your audio quality dropped earlier. It's still okay. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad. But the clarity went and it picked up far more of the room noise.
Which is really interesting because, as we said, this room is echoey. There's glass, there's hard surfaces. But how many meeting rooms do we all walk into, that we all work in, that is exactly the same? There is a lot of glass, there is a lot of hard furniture. So that's interesting. So let me take a step. I'm now at the 5 meter mark. So I'm right at the end of it. This is where it wants that expansion mics. But same again, the camera is already past its furthest zoom. If the framing of the video is acceptable, then there's nothing to say it can't be used at this distance. But I'm guessing, again, you're looking at expansion mics at this point.
Yeah, exactly the same, mate. Even at that distance, that and the poly similarly. You're a little bit fluffy. Your audio's a little bit boomy. But, yeah.
Okay, really interesting. So the other options that we've got as well for this room is if you want it as a wider room as opposed to a long room. So the table I'm sat around is actually a 6-seater. Now, if I was to stand here, this was 3 meters distance. Now, I've got a unit there, so I can't. So let's call it 2 and a bit meters. But it's 4.5 meters wide. So I can show you very quickly on the Logitech, and I can show you again on the poly as well. So if we come out of shot, what you should expect is this to frame in and focus on me? There we go. And it's starting to move. Okay. And they will both do the same. As I said, you can set then the poly to speaker, or you can set it to frame the group. The Logitech is always frame the group. So if there was somebody sat at either side of my 6-seater, they'd both just zoom out and frame everybody in the group. But it still works. So what's really interesting with that then, and I've not been able to hear it, is are you able to take or repurpose kit that's maybe in that 3-seater room that you're probably not going to use anymore for these meetings and repurpose it into, you say, your 8-seater room or your 12-seater room, just with a little bit of an uplift as a expansion mic? Or are we going in and saying, Mr. Customer, all that kit you've just bought is probably obsolete for the next 6 months, start again?
No, I think that you can get away, and customers and people in business nowadays will be quite happy with getting away with using something like this in a larger room. But you've got to use that expansion mic side of things. The audio's the key, right? And that's always going to be the way. So I could see you. I knew it was you. I could make out you'd got squiggly letters on your top, and I could tell that you were the person that I know, right? So it's not a case of who is that that's talking at the back. They're good enough for what you need.
Okay, I'm happy with that. That's good. I'll be interested to hear it back, because that's the one thing I've not been able to do is hear it in this space. As I said, it's not the best space, but actually it's pretty common. Bit of an acoustic space.
Yeah, it is common of the architect's choice of the cool offices now, which are, hard surfaces, glass, and everything that audio hate.
Okay, perfect. So I suppose the biggest thing for this then is we can set up demos, remote demos, long kit if you need to, but I think it's something then that if you're interested, give us a shout. It's well worth considering.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much.